Soul Tribe family, how's everyone doing? Pray everyone has had a good day, man. Me myself, been pleasant. Got some things done out in nature. I'm feeling real good. Praying that you all are in good spirits and in with good spirits. Um, have some downloads that I want to present before you all. Some things that I was writing down in my meditative state. So I want you to take what resonates and leave the rest. While water, I do connect with spirit through pure intent. So, first download, kind of ruminative. They are still doing the same thing they were doing until they show up different. They are still doing the same thing they were doing until they show up different. So I feel like this is a message that should resonate with somebody. You might be on the fence about maybe letting someone go or going back to someone. And perhaps it's an issue that stands in the way. Maybe it could be substance abuse. Maybe it could be addiction. It could be in relation to a lot of different things. Like it's a lot of different energetic perspectives that I could feel. But I'll just say this is a person, and it's some type of obstacle that stands in between you two, and you may be questioning if they let that go. Whatever it is, like it's something that this person does, and it derails the relationship. Could be you with yourself. But I'm really feeling like this resonates for somebody dealing with maybe a significant other. It could be anything. But nevertheless, Spirit says they are still doing the same thing until they show up different. What that means is like oftentimes when we leave people alone for different reasons or whatever, we question like, well, what if this person didn't do that? How would things be? Or maybe how would they have turned out? The only thing about that is you have to really, really allow a person to show up. Like if you haven't seen a person and you don't really know their whereabouts and you haven't really heard of a significant change with that person, that means that they haven't shown up yet in the world as anything different than who they are, and they're most likely going to be doing what they were doing. So Spirit says until they show up different, um, you know, you got to question people's motive, and you have to question why they were in your life. And, is it a lesson to be learned? Is it a karmic? Is it a twin? Whatever, all of these different things that they label them. But you have to be the ultimate judge when in regards to things like this. So this is just some spiritual assistance and some wisdom for you. They are still doing the same thing until they show up different. Because when people change and they truly change, they show up with that change. That change speaks volumes of its own. Like so. Number two, a lot of cities are under the oppression from spiritual authorities. So when I say spiritual authorities, as to not offend anyone, um, any organization or anything that has been made for a person to be a part of, even down to the military, right? It's all governed by an authority in the spirit, as above, so below. So the things that exist all the way down to the FBI, right? They're governed by a set of spiritual laws, right? That's everything, even down to a gang that has a spiritual authority. Now, these particular spiritual authorities, they are effectively oppressing a lot of different areas where people live, Spirit says you could be dealing with people sitting on your car. You could be dealing with people in your neighborhood that make your travels uncomfortable. I'm actually hearing somebody say, I don't even want to go to the store because they sitting outside, right? Um, Spirit is offering a suggestion to this, and is moving the authority of love, right? If you are a person that's situated across the world in any country, and your neighborhood is oppressed by spiritual authorities, I mean, these could be government entities, these could be gang related entities, right? When they are established in the 3D, they then forth establish themselves with a spiritual presence as well. So it's an authority, right? This is how these things exist. It doesn't matter what human plays what role. Things exist because they are already manifested in a more spiritual development. Like it comes as above, so below. So if you are a person that's living in a community and you're being oppressed by these spiritual authorities, Spirit is wanting you to move in a greater authority. It's called love, right? Say, for instance, it's a hot day. I mean, it's a cold day, and you may be going home, and you may be having people on your car. They may be sitting on your step. They may say vulgar things to you. Well, you have to understand that the energy of fear, it draws predators to you, for whomever you may be. Fear, at first, it reeks, right? Even fear itself, it gives off an odor. Animals can detect it. You know, dogs being the number one energy readers known to man. Dogs can read energy thoroughly, right? So much so they don't even really see much. They more or less feel. So fear, it drives a dog to an erratic state. You can get bit from a dog that didn't really mean to bite you from fear. The same way when you're moving through these oppressed different regions where spiritual authorities rule. You know, people speak vulgar to you. They may call you out your name. They may even accuse you of calling the police or whatever it may be. I mean, many are different scenarios. But Spirit is giving you a way to move that will move that around spiritually, because we're dealing with things from spiritual aspect. So, love. Say it's a cold day outside. Spirit saying, put a big pot of hot tea on, maybe some cheese biscuits, right? And see what you fear begin to be what protects you. You have to realize your ancestors are not weak. So just because you feel frail and you feel fearful, your ancestors, they not designed like that. So it has to be a thing where you allow them to assist you, right? And when you move in the energy of love, you invite high vibrational ancestors on. Yeah, I know they may be in your neighborhood and they may be doing things that go against your moral code. They may be selling, they may be doing. They may be jugging, they may be doing whatever they may be doing. But as opposed to looking at this from the perspective of being fearful, you have to move in a greater love, right? Tea, maybe cheese biscuits. If you don't feel like approaching them, arrange a place and leave it there, right? And you know, in other words, when you move in the authority of love, it begins to teach you, first of all, a lot of the things that you fear, they were illusions, false expectations that appear to be real to you. That's the first thing a greater love helps you understand. So then you can move with a balance. And see, you can't also, thank you, Spirit, the energy of fear, it doesn't allow you to receive, right? So when you move in the energy of fear, you draw predators to you because you can't really receive the protection that would be available, because fear is it's not a foreign energy at all. It's an energy that most spiritual entities, they know fear, right? Now what they don't know is love. See, love has many complexities. One of them being it can change what you fear into what protects you. particularly for my person that's moving in this situation. Think about it. When you offer these people tea or hot cheese biscuits, right? Just some suggestions. Um, on a cold day when they might be out hustling or doing whatever you then forth bridge a gap. So now, as opposed to you feeling like you trapped inside of your home or whatever, now you begin to feel comfortable because you'll hear the energy will switch. Always remember, love covers a multitude of sin, right? That means something. The energy of love is very powerful. The name Cora could be significant. Darlene, Simeon, Derek, Charles, Mahara, Norris, James, Julio, Sanchez, and Gaza could be significant. Spirit says for the third download, the posture of a smile is ruthless over indignation, right? So what is that saying? I think this may be for a person in a work environment, right? Or some sort. But you may be suffering from indignant energy from people. Like they may feel like maybe you could be projecting an energy of uncertainty. It could be because of where you're from, right? Because this is one of them things that I even struggle with. You know, when we come from different type of environments and then we begin to move in different rooms with different people, uh, out, we begin to really, our insecurities, they kind of enhance themselves. It's like you really become aware of how much you really don't know, or you may feel like you don't belong, right? But the posture of a smile is ruthless over the energy of indignation, right? Meaning, like, if you learn how to let a smile become your posture, even in the most uncertain environments, it makes it hard for a person to be indignant to you. One of the reasons being because a smile, it reflects, even if it's a gathered energy, it reflects an energy of goodness and lightness. A smile, right? When it becomes a posture, it in certain instances, it doesn't get to what's behind the smile, right? Sometimes a postured smile is a defense mechanism, right? So maybe you don't feel like it. Smile anyway. Because see, if a person is indignant up against a smile, it then it, the energy is deflected. And when deflected energy is present, wise people notice it. See, wise people, they begin to say stuff like, well, why is that person doing that person that smile all the time like that? Why? I don't get it. They may not say nothing, but understand, diverted energy is very, very loud. It's noisy. It's like you ever you ever said something to somebody and they ain't receive it, and then you felt like that was embarrassing. That's called like diverted energy. It's noticeable. It's very noisy when you dealing with energy, right? So when you smile and you have a postured smile, it makes it very, very hard for somebody to continue to be indignant towards you, right? A smile is actually it's electric. It can be infectious. Laughter surely is. You ever known somebody that had a powerful laugh, so much so that it made you laugh, like, and you know you laughing because that person's energy is causing you to laugh, right? A smile is semi sorta that kind of way. So learn how to posture your smile, right, as a defense against indignation and people that come with different unsavory attitudes. This could be the workplace. I'm feeling strongly this is work related, right? In your workplace. And another thing, for those of us that oftentimes struggle with insecurities because we come from poverty, so to speak, or whatever, you have to realize it was so many lessons in where we came from in the tenacity that you have to exist in an environment that you may be insecure in is the tenacity that you gain from your upbringing. As I know, many of us, it feels like maybe something was lacking. It wasn't. It was more or less things happening in the spirit realm that you couldn't fathom. See, one thing about God, when He puts a plan together, nobody knows what God is planning. So nobody knows. That's why you never look at another person. See, I learned from some of the wise higher ups, and they always tell me, with this right here and your energy, always be careful with people, right? Because you never know who walking with who spiritually. And that's real. Like you don't none of us have the authority to write a man's final chapter. Nobody has that authority. It's only God, right? So I say that to say it ain't about where you come from, it's about where you at and where you headed with this energy, right? Don't allow your insecurities to hold you back. And I fight with mines as well. So perhaps we can all fight together in this energy. I find myself in this download, right? Sometimes it's kind of hard for me to get into the corporate way of delivering things because I'm so passionate about what God has me doing. So a lot of times, I find myself feeling insecure around a certain different type of people. I do in this thing, but I have to always remind myself God chose me to do a purpose, and my purpose, it requires me to speak my piece. So I'll go do what I gotta do, and you do the same thing. Someone has recently moved, or you are about to move, right? This is very important. You recently moved, or you're about to move. Now, Spirit says the problems in the community stem from the historical roots, and so does the strength and spiritual authority. So Spirit is saying, study the crimes and study the religious buildings in or churches in this community where you just moved to or you planning on moving to. Because I feel like it's some things that may be there, and a certain amount of witchery may be involved. One thing about land and regions, y'all, I want to explain something to you about this. Spiritually, when great things happen on different portions of land in the region known as Ka or Earth or the world, what happens is that depending upon the magnitude of what happened there, it becomes a spiritual monument. It becomes a place that's very renowned from spirit, like Mount Sinai, for instance, right? That's spirit is recognized spiritually, right? So it's like, I say that to say when we inhabit different land regions, sometimes they may build homes or communities over things, and it could have been some things that took place on that land before that got built. So that land is still affected, right? Hollywood call it haunted, right? But we dealing with spiritual energy, right? So I feel like this community where you're about to move to, or you just moved to, it has historical roots. Now, crimes, maybe some heinous crimes, oftentimes, thank you, Spirit. In the Yamas, you have a lot of disgruntled soul energy. Some people that are forced out of their existence by way of being unalived. Some people that depart prematurely. Some people that are caught up in old ancient day type sacrificial. Some of these things, they have people have entity attachments to these areas. Their soul is not, it hasn't been, so to speak, quieted. A disquieted soul, right? You have a lot of those. As a spirit medium, I feel them all the time, particularly when I pick up tarot cards, or I feel disquieted souls, right? So they exist in a suspended place. they are very powerful. Some of them can manifest and move things around, like, because it depends on what place you at. Like if you in a, just say like a home where something happened, you know, and a soul transition from that destination, they can cling to that in many different ways that you may not understand, right? But it nevertheless, it's a reality. So with this community that you're moving in, or you just moved to, congratulations, by the way. Spirit says just do some studying. Study crimes that may have took place all the way back to, they telling me, to 1916. Begin to study some crimes. But as well, the beautiful upside to this community is that it has powerful spiritual authorities. I'm talking like Gabriel and Michael. You gotta realize when things happen in this 3D realm, the authority that governs a lot of it is Archangel Michael. He's a defender of humanity from a spiritual aspect. So him, Gabriel, they clean a lot of things up. Raguel as well, especially in the mind and the mental. Raguel is an energy that's very much an astral guardian, right? An astral guard, which is getting to my next download. But nevertheless, study while you're studying some of the crimes that may have taken place in this new community that you just moved in or you're thinking about moving to. Spirit is saying, study some of the religious buildings and or churches, because there lies the strength in the community. Like you have, I'm feeling like some powerful men and women that may have came from this community. You may want to look into what they represented, what they stood for, what spirit guarded them, what help. It helps because when we move into communities, y'all, with a lot of different spiritual chaos and conflict, a lot of things begin to happen. It's almost like, I'm going to tell you how it is. See, I grew up in a community like this. It's almost like things would be smooth and steady, and then the most awkward thing will happen to disrupt the flow. But when you really look at it, nothing's really disturbed spiritually because these things, the conflict is already there, right? So it's like you live here and then all of a sudden something happens. A lot of times it's because the spiritual energy on that, around that place where you live, it has chaos and conflict in the history. So it's good to find out, well, what took place, or what church was here? You know, what authority stood here? So you can know exactly how to defend yourself spiritually. See, a lot of us don't really realize what as much as you ignore things that happen to you spiritually, is as much as you are susceptible to different things that you may not have an understanding of, that are very real. And this is why the ancient, when you look at like Christianity or Islam, when you look at these different religious facets, they're very powerful. And the people that put their faith in these, they become very powerful, high vibrational human beings, right? And that's from still my view, that's still a lower level of spirituality and totality, because we're dealing with sectors. But look at the faith, right? And what does the faith do? And the ancient warriors, they had a faith that made them know how important it is to know the names of what they're dealing with, the energies that surround them. They wasn't people that just said, I'm going to pray to God and everything is going to be all right. That wasn't the energy. It may not reflect to you like that, but it was an honorable thing. See, they always honored the ancestors. The book of Hebrews shows us that, where it says to be compassed about by such a great cloud of witnesses. That's speaking of ancestral understanding. Like when it speaks about people being laid to rest in the Old Testament, it oftentimes says that they're going to rest with their ancestors. Or if they committed an offense, it would say they won't rest with their ancestors, right? Because they knew the strength, the spiritual things. That's what we don't really pay attention to now. We move out, but we move out ignorantly. So in a way with this community, don't become a victim of spiritual chaos and conflict. Just do a quick study. Spirit is giving you what you may need. Allow it to resonate. It's a quick study. Go back to 1916. All right, last download. You could be waking up fatigued and even slightly bruised, as well as you could be speaking in tongues during your sleep. Reason why this is happening is because many of us are under what's known as astral attack, right? So what's happening around the world is this. When we go in our sleep state, well, first of all, it's a lot of people that's higher up that's involved in this. But on a lower scale, just think of being attacked by different things. We all know demons, but some of us don't understand what draconians are. Some of us don't understand what reptilians are. Some of us don't understand what the grays are, right? So you have all of these different energies. They begin to attack us, and even people who learn how to astral travel. All of this comes into play. And when you go to sleep, you could be doing battle. You could be doing a war, waking up fatigued. You may be slightly bruised. You may even be speaking in tongues in your sleep, Spirit is saying. And this is happening because we are people who are ascending and people who are growing are instantly being attacked in your sleep state. A lot of it comes as a mechanical process, right? First of all, you take in a bunch of energy during the day through social media, through different programming. Everything is 1 minute shorts, right? Something that we all unconsciously do. But when you pile a lot of that energy up and you begin to mix and match different messages that you're getting, when you go to sleep and your subconscious mind, you already fighting the power of suggestions in yourself. So that's rendering you in a state of war. It's kind of contemporary warfare every time we go in our sleep state now. Now you got to think about powerful magicians that work with different energies, occultic energies, demonic energies, even alien energies, right? And then once again, even humans that have the gift to take mushrooms and astral travel into your dream state. This is all of what we fight in our sleep state. Please believe it's real. If you're waking up, once again, for those of you who might just tapped in, if you're feeling fatigued, slightly bruised, or you notice that you're speaking in tongues in your sleep, it's because you're fighting astral wars. Now, I have some suggestions. Last year, I did a lot of one-on-one astral war. And I've learned a dream catcher, anointed a dream catcher, right? Now, the thing about dream catchers is a dream catcher is an instrument, right? Many people use it through many different cultures. It's not a play toy. It's an instrument that should be handcrafted and designed with the purpose of dream defense. It's not something that you just go out and buy and then you can be inviting different things into your world. Don't go buy things that you see on the store that's replicated and duplicated. That's not the right way to defend yourself, right? A dream catcher is a very real instrument. See, a dream catcher, I got one in his. Wait a minute. Let me show you what it looks like. I did a lot of wars with this last year, right? Now, a dream catcher is an instrument. In the 3D, it's called the dream catcher. In the 5D, it's known as a dream protector. And it has a lot of relation to the energy of Archangel Raphael. It's an instrument that's to be taken seriously, and it helps you in your sleep state. Many cultures know it, particularly indigenous Indians. They passed it down to the whole coalition of Indian tribes put together. But the indigenous Indians, they brought this method with them. Method, way of catching dreams, way of screening. See, it was already a lot of astral warfare going on. And I kind of want to say it's very strong in shamanic cultures. Like when you deal with the energy of ayahuasca, right? Ayahuasca is a drink that people drink, and it kind of puts you into a very, very deep depth of spirit. It's like it puts you into a place where you basically, people have ayahuasca trips together and they walk around in each other's mind, trade thoughts, and they really, it's really a real thing. So your sleep state, begin to take it serious, because, thank you, Spirit, some of us, you know, we can be compromised in our sleep state. Like people can draw you in and bind you into contracts while you sleep, spiritual stuff, right? But that's most relevant, because you could, for instance, you could be in the energy of wanting to connect with somebody in your dream and say yes, right? And then next thing you know, you can't shake that person out of your system, right? Because you didn't take it serious, right? And it's real simple. Like when you're dealing with defense in your dreams, the first thing is to become aware that this is what's going on. That's your first defense. And astral projection into other people's mind or dreams is a spiritual offense. And when people get caught for doing it, they become sick, very bad. It's illegal. It's called spiritual infraction. Like you don't supposed to do that kind of stuff. So those were your downloads. Before I leave, I'm going to pluck 3 What's the T cards. Just to gauge some energy and get out. Any last messages that Spirit may have? Okay, so this card, through What's the T, says, Carter case, sexual infection, sexual disease, rash, etc. That kind of correlates with the download. My first download, when I first started, you can rewind it and check it out. But Spirit is very thorough. It says, my first download said, they're doing the same thing that they've been doing until they show up different. So, court case, it could be a literal case. It could be a case of a certain type of viral infection that says sexual infection, sexual diseases, rashes, etc. So this is pretty much nasty work. So this is like for my divine beings that you may have separated yourself from somebody. And this doesn't resonate with everybody, right? Because you know if a person has this type of behavior, then they probably a person you need to leave wherever they at, and you continue to move on wherever you at. Because, you know, this is very real, and I want somebody to really understand this. With the way that things are going now and the way that energy is nowadays, people are highly infectious with diseases and sexually transmitted demons, right? Because those are the most powerful energies, demons, that transfer through sex. Lust demons. Demons love lust play, right? So let's say you a person and you left somebody alone a month ago, right? And you found ascension, don't go back to that person. This is not for any old, meaning you left somebody, right? And in the process of you leaving them, you found ascension. God covered you. God showed you some different things, and your mind began to blossom, and you growing energetically or physically. If you left somebody and you have grown and found ascension, do not go back to that energy. It could be dangerous because spirit could have saved you from something. And spirit is still assisting right here. So if you know it's resonating, right? And like I said, it doesn't have to be physical. It could be mental. It could be spiritual. Two more cards. Always partying. Right back to the same download. So this is a person that's always partying. This is an energy. Always partying is, I mean, as a person, I'm pretty old, right? Considering, and I don't expect everybody to share my views or anything. I'm speaking for the spirit of you, whoever you may be. Age, it really doesn't matter. I will say this about always partying. When you always partying, right, you're not getting any better. It doesn't matter. Even if you in a world where you make money partying, if you're always partying, you're still not gonna have no money. Because always partying it's not it's not even conducive to anything. Like partying is it's the place where illusions of grandeur express themselves. Wow, spirit, that was, yeah. Like when we partying, none of it's real. It's an illusion that you engage in. It's just partying is not what reality consists of. So if I'm always partying, how much time am I really spending focusing on my reality? So if this is you or energy around you or one of you separated from, if it's you, you have to adjust, right? You can't always party. It's no such thing. If you're always partying, you're deteriorating, Spirit says. People who always party, they are deteriorating, you know? So don't be a always partying. And if it's an energy that's always partying, right? I'm not saying, we grown. I'm not saying stay away from that energy. I don't really feel like that. But I will say be responsible enough to pick your battles wisely. Like, if you know they always partying, right? Get with them when you want to party. And then when you don't want to party, go off the radar. But don't allow a person that's always partying to have a significant attachment to your energy. So much so that it can affect your life. Don't do it. It's not wise. Always partying, last but not leastly, is very unstable. Okay, let's get this last card out before I get out of here. Dirty offer. You see what Spirit is getting at? Dirty offer. So what that's saying is, pretty much beware of somebody trying to give you something, right? Study the motives. That's not to be paranoid, right? This is coming from our energy. Spirit saying this is an energy that who this is resonating with, you are already more or less aware. Spirit is sending you a reminder, right? So I feel like you a person who already wise, you already sharp, you already know, and you already know that this offer is dirty, right? And with discordant case, sexual infection, sexual disease, rash, etc. with the dirty offer. The dirty offer could very well be them offering you themselves. That could be, although I feel like it's more in this energy. Right? You know, a dirty spirit is telling me, like, always to be reminded about a dirty offer, y'all. It looks good. Like, it doesn't, because if something is given, let's deal with spirit again. If I am a spirit and I want to send something to you in a 3D that's going to ultimately corrupt your soul, I know that you're not going to receive it if I send it in the intended energy. I mean, if I send it the way it is and what it really is, you're going to cringe out. No, I don't want that. It's going to destroy me. So I'm going to have to wrap it up in gold trimming. So beware the dirty offer. It comes from the hand of the devil. Right? So it's like you had to be Rajim, right? Like you have to be a person that can say, I'm not on, in my spirit, I'm going to rebuke that in my spirit. I'm going to rebuke that energy that is given to me. And in the natural, see, that don't require words, right? Like when somebody come with a dirty offer, it's not always good to just be like, no, I'm good, right? Because that's not sending that spirit away with it, right? That's basically lining you up to be tempted again. When somebody come with a dirty offer and you sense it through your spirit that no matter how beautiful it looks, when you sense through your spirit that this is sent to destroy you, you got to learn to rebuke it silently. Rebuke that, right? Rebuke it with a powerful authority. And then in the 3D, tell them, I decline. I don't want it. And learn how the spirit says we should remove I'm good from a lot of the things that we say. Because it's a lie. It's a response that don't have authority. And if somebody giving you something to destroy your world spiritually, and you decline by saying, no, I'm good, essentially a demon is going to laugh at that response because it's like the power of this person's word, they don't understand it. They're saying that they're good. Let's do it again. Do it until they're not good. Evil is persistent. Evil is patient. And evil has to be sent out of your life. Now, for real. See, certain evils, particularly those minor spirits of battle, like they hang in your house in the dirty corners, like when you don't clean up and you keep dirt in the corners of your house, real small spirits of battle, they spirits of confusion. They sit there, right? And a lot of times, you notice how the old heads, they clean their whole house up, and then they pray and send everything out spiritually. That's how they used to do it. That was a clean house because they understood what was there. They could see beyond what was being seen, right? It's the same way we gotta be. Like, look through the eyes of your old heads and your grandmothers and understand why they say, I'm hearing somebody grandmother say cleanliness is next to godliness, right? Remember that because things have to be sent, y'all. Less than they can sit right there. Some evil is like that. It can come and sit right in your life, right? And the next thing you know, instead of sending it, you're used to it. Now you're comfortable with it. The next thing you know, you done built a relationship up with your affliction instead of sending it, right? Spiritually. Say the words, say the prayers. Remember, when prayers were said, remember some of the prayers, they always were said outwardly. It's a greater effect on what's around you. You know, you rebuke energy from your spirit, right? When you announce things out your mouth, you speak life, right? You speak things that be not as though they were. So when it's like an energy that needs to be gone, you rebuke it and then you speak the right word. I decline. I don't want that offer. Now I'm good. No, I don't want that. I decline that. Okay. Those are your downloads. I'm going to close this missive out. Probably catch us on YouTube in a few. Love you all. I hope that it resonated. God bless you.